Join us as we embark on a journey of discovery, guided by Dr. Stephen Greer's unwavering commitment to truth. Since the 1940s, humans have been crafting machines that can soar through the skies with ease. Interestingly, most of the mysterious UFO and UAP sightings that people report are not of alien origin. They're creations of our own making. The general public remains oblivious to this fact. Take, for instance, the speaker's vast knowledge. They possess a map containing a whopping 147 black sites, and that treasure trove of information is being handed over to Congress and the White House. How did they manage to pinpoint these secretive locations? It turns out they've got insiders, people who once toiled within those facilities. These former employees have spilled the beans, providing intel and, in some cases, even documents detailing the inner workings of these covert spaces. So in essence, the speaker wants to emphasize the wealth of data at their disposal waiting to be unveiled. There's a need for a legal mechanism to bring this information to light. For starters, revealing such classified data could lead to dire consequences, as pointed out by Mr. Grush. Lives have been lost in attempts to disclose these secrets. And secondly, the individuals holding this knowledge are trembling in fear of the potential fallout. That's why the speaker insists on a proper legal process to compel these insiders to share what they know without risking their safety. Dr. Stephen Greer, a real-life UFO expert, has had quite a life rubbing shoulders with extraterrestrial visitors. Armed with some serious insider information, this whistleblower is a big deal. He's not flying solo in the revelation game. More than 700 heavy hitters from the government and big corporations are ready to spill the beans on UFOs. Greer spills the cosmic beans, claiming that a secret squad of military and government people has been snagging and tinkering with unidentified flying gadgets for ages. The plot thickens when they realize these covert ops are playing hide and seek with the powerhouses at the White House and Congress. That sounds like a sci-fi flick, but Greer swears it's the real deal. He said even the president and the CIA tried to peek into the UFO files, but they got the cold shoulder. Turns out it wasn't just a bunch of nonsense, it was the real deal. There were these secret projects, totally off the books, doing some shady stuff with UFOs. These projects were going shady, keeping the president out of the loop. The head honcho of the CIA was left clueless. Who are these mystery people with more power than the big shot president? And are we really talking about aliens and UFOs here? The first question is a total mystery, but the second one is getting clearer by the day. Mr. Faber. The expert naval aviator Faber ever laid eyes on a UFO that zipped around like that Tic-Tac UAP? Nope, says Faber. These UFOs, or UAPs as the cool kids, are like nothing we've ever seen on Earth. They're breaking all the rules of flight and performance. Governments worldwide are still playing the denial game, despite tons of people spotting these mysterious flying objects. The official stance is a big fat nope, no aliens here, move along. Looking back at the subject's history, the Robertson Panel of 1953 and the Coding Committee of 1969, every time one of these setups is arranged, it gets infiltrated by shady characters with their own agenda. They're all about keeping things secret, and they always come up with a pre-decided outcome, which is basically just a cover-up. This panel they're talking about, it's not going to do the trick. The only thing that might cut it is if the Disclosure Project, led by civilians, kicks into gear. They're gearing up to launch a lawsuit under RICO against those corporations and individuals pulling the strings, the ones with the corrupt influence. There was this meeting with the legal team, hashing out the details, preparing for a civilian lawsuit if Congress drops the ball on this whole thing. And in that meeting, they're tossing around new terms like UAP, which stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. It's a bit different from what we're used to UFOs. Why the change? They're just throwing out these fancy terms to keep things confusing? It's all part of the psychological warfare, the propaganda game. Those objects in the sky weren't really flying in the way we think of it. Dr. Stephen didn't just watch E.T. on the big screen. He claims to have had a face-to-face with an actual alien back in 1973. He's the real deal, a big shot in the world of unidentified flying objects. In 1973, Greer's 18 years old, and he stumbles upon an extraterrestrial buddy while chilling on a mountain near Boone, North Carolina. This isn't some spaced-out teenager's wild imagination. Greer swears it happened. He's up there on that mountain minding his own business when suddenly he spots a pin-sized alien creature standing at a solid 4 to 5 feet. Initially, Greer's brain goes, hey, is that a deer with some serious yoga skills? But nope, it's an alien, according to him. The guy said he was completely sober during this close encounter of the third kind. No mind-bending substances, just a mountain, an alien, and a guy old enough to know his way around reality. A mysterious creature, with eyes like a deer, locked onto him. Out of the blue, it approached and firmly touched his right shoulder, leaving a noticeable mark. As soon as it made contact, Greer's hair stood on end, as if an invisible force surrounded it. Strangely, instead of fear, an unexpected feeling of safety washed over him. Greer seems to have this unique connection with aliens, making them choose to reveal themselves to him repeatedly. From 1947 to 1969, during the height of the Cold War, over 12,000 UFO sightings were reported to Project Blue Book. Extraterrestrial civilizations have been silently watching our planet and its inhabitants for a long time. Another tricky issue is that these man-made UFOs have been causing a commotion by faking alien incidents. A psychological warfare gig that kicked off in the late 50s or early 60s. They'd use these man-made gadgets that, to someone not clued in, look just like alien spaceships. It's basically a staged alien show to mess with people's heads. They even got a 1953 document signed by the CIA big shot talking about the psychological warfare angle of the UFO topic. Fast forward to 1985. Another CIA document spills the beans on how they were using these man-made UFOs and alien lookalikes to mess with people in Brazil and Argentina. There's this big-shot astrophysicist, Jacques Vallée, who's got a document from 1985, but he's keeping it under wraps because he's feeling the heat not to spill the beans. Back in 1997, he had a sit-down with Admiral Wilson, the big shot in charge of intelligence for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He handed him a folder filled with juicy documents and information, all part of the unacknowledged book got going on. People are itching to get a peek at this stuff. One of those papers spilled the beans on project code names and numbers from the early 1990s, straight out of Nellis Air Force Base, the infamous Area 51. If people were to spill the beans on that one, the first thing anyone with half a brain would ask is, how in the world are we making these things? Once that question gets a straight answer, it's game over for oil, gas, coal, nuclear power, public utilities, and regular old roads. Because the tech behind it is a game changer. That's why they dropped the flick, The Lost Century, and How to Get It Back. There's a treasure collection of tech that's been locked away. The damage to our planet and the skyrocketing poverty we've seen in the last century. A big chunk of that is because these mind-blowing sciences and gizmos have been under wraps. And he means locked up tight. He knows people who've met an early demise just trying to spill the beans on tech that could kick us off the oil train. And he's not talking about some knockoff Tesla deal here. The Teslas bought today, they're like the basic model. This sleek machine cruises down the road, not bothered by any charging stations. It's sipping energy from the very air around it. Talking about the zero-point energy field, a cosmic power source embedded in the fabric of space. Inside that tiny space, there's enough potential energy to boil off all the oceans on our planet. Nikola Tesla, the OG inventor, called it the infinite energy field. Professor Casimir confirmed it in the 1950s, but it's not the stuff they teach at MIT or Harvard. This knowledge is like a secret recipe, hidden away from textbooks and classrooms. It's a shame because this zero-point energy thing is the golden ticket. It could solve poverty, tackle global warming, and sort out a bunch of other issues we're facing. Evidence even dates back to cave drawings from 5,000 years ago, depicting what seems to be a perfect UFO. In ancient art, people back then were drawing some wild stuff like a floating thing in the sky beaming down light. Even ancient Egyptians were into UFOs, putting sightings in their manuscripts and hieroglyphs. What's cool is that when they talk about these alien planes, it's all about them having super smarts and sharing tech way beyond their time. Dr. Greer has a mind-blowing idea of why would aliens even care about Earth. According to him, they got curious when we started playing with atomic bombs. When scientists were cooking up the first nuclear bomb, they didn't realize it would mess with space and other planets. There's this electromagnetic pulse that messes up electronics in the power grid. But there's also this crazy scalar pulse, super fast and tangled up in quantum physics. It messes with how aliens move around and chat with each other. So every time we detonate a nuke, it's like sending a cosmic text to the stars saying, hey, check us out, we're doing some wild stuff down here. One big reason countries like the US, Russia, the UK and France are into making nuclear weapons is because these places catch the attention of aliens. The same spots where people often spot UFOs. Dr. Steven is losing sleep over the idea that these alien rides might be turned into cosmic weapons. Extraterrestrial joy rides are being transformed into space-age battle wagons. It's a sci-fi nightmare waiting to unfold. Dr. Steven's worst fear is someone using these captured cosmic rides to stage a fake alien invasion. And go? We're not ready for that. What if these snagged UFOs are repurposed to take down alien real estate, like the moon base's Ingo Swann spilled the beans about? It's like a cosmic game of capturing the flag, but with potentially universe-shaking consequences. Someone get a grip on this before we accidentally kick off a space war. Dr. Steven bravely takes on the system to shed light on the mind-boggling secrets that unraveled on June 12, 2023. He dropped a bomb of proof. Inside this digital treasure collection were government secrets, first-hand accounts, and the covert corners of UFO dealings. In the midst of this disclosure, a U.S. Marine spilled the beans about a man-made UFO in Indonesia in 2009, casually offloading illegal weapons and bugs. Greer, the mastermind behind this revelation, didn't stop there. With a whopping 700 whistleblowers in tow, he's ready to spill the extraterrestrial beans on advanced energy, funky propulsion systems, and shady government projects. Dr. Steven, optimistic about peaceful alien neighbors, is up against a colossal wave of uncertainty. What if these beings decide we're not the intergalactic pals they thought we were? The survival of our planet and the safety of its inhabitants hang in the balance. We're left to ponder the extent of these covert operations and their potential impact on us, mere Earthlings. It's like playing a risky game of pushing limits without knowing the consequences. Humans unknowingly pose a threat, not waiting for trouble to knock on their door. This predicament creates a ticking time bomb. Aliens want Earth to evolve at its own pace, but they fear the consequences of inaction. The risk of a planet descending into chaos and becoming uninhabitable is too great. It seemed like a smart move to hold back information for 70 years. In the short run, it looks like a questionable decision. The delay, meant to avoid chaos, has backfired. The interconnected web of issues, social disparities, terrorism, and cultural discontent has only intensified. Dr. Steven would probably call this a disaster, and it's hard to argue otherwise. Thanks for watching another episode of Voyager. While you are still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more quality content.